the creator, I'm so bad at this, but he basically made the point saying that when a gay man likes a man, is because that's who they're attracted to. They're attracted to men. They're not going to date a trans man, so to speak, because they are not. They're just not gonna find them attractive. It's not transphobic for him to say that. It's literally, I'm gay, and I just find that attractive.
And you're gone again.
No, he's cut off. God damn
But
it.
but if you're attracted or not to trans people is again not related to the shelter issue and safety.
What
That's
I
what.
think it is,
And
the
your
issue.
mic is still gone. Yeah,
Okay.
go ahead, Steve.
I think the
Am I
issue
back
is
now?
these women need to have a safe
Am I back now?
space as well.
Am I back?
But the statistics show that they are safe.
That we know of. Unfortunately, there's a lot that goes on that you're not supposed to speak about and talk about. That shit does go on. You got to remember, if somebody speaks up and says this thing happened, no, you can't say that. You're transphobic. You're spreading hate, and it's like there are people that have had genuine experiences that they've created like a fear that people, women are a fear. They're scared to come out and say things because they'll get jumped on. Because I know women myself who they can't say these things publicly, but they confide in me, and they say like, I'm not happy or comfortable with certain things, and it's not that they're transphobic. They've got trans friends, but they themselves as women want their own safe space, and it's not. It's got nothing to do with the fact that they're trans women in the sense of they've got a penis, like they identify as that. It's because they want to have their own space away from a man or someone who is biologically a man, regardless of what they identify as. Just because they've grown up with a lot of shit on their end, they've had to deal with harassment, and some women just generally are very scared of men due to their
Am I back
upbringing.
now?
That can happen. I for a long time when I was younger, I
Is it
wouldn't say I
good
was
now?
scared of men. Oh yeah, I can hear you now.
Yeah, you're
Okay,
kind of
perfect.
I
crackling, but
would
you're fine.
I wouldn't say I was scared of men, but I had a indifference towards them because of my upbringing.
Well,
Um,
I'm to some degree also still scared of men because I was
Yeah,
sexually well, I've been
don't
through stuff.
traumatize me. But no, but okay. This is why I use
But
the.
may I respond to what he said first, please?
Sure.
Because I get that part of the argument, and I wouldn't tell women that they're not allowed to have that kind of safe space. I'm not necessarily against that shelter being trans exclusionary per se, because I get those reasons. I wouldn't tell anyone what to be comfortable and not comfortable with because you just are or you aren't. That's not something you can just magically decide.
yeah,
I get that. However, those kinds of issues kind of function as a vessel for larger, more hateful rhetoric about all trans women kind of having this inherent predatory nature.
Hold on a second. I got to say this here. You literally said not long ago that there are charities that literally exclude men from seeking help if they're abused, etc., because it's exclusively for women. This is okay. We How comes we don't see the actual ramifications of this, where men can do not actually have places to go and seek help, let alone have their own shelters? But when it comes to trans, it's a larger problem down the line. Bearing in mind, they are trans exclusive only shelters just for them. Why is it a problem that when it comes to the women's shelters and they exclude them, this is this is a big issue?
Well, it's because of the rhetoric surrounding it. Because as I said, that particular argument that Steve just laid out, I don't have a big issue with it, and it's not like I'm against the existence of a trans exclusionary shelter, as long as there are also sufficient shelters that don't. Like, as long as there are just sufficient shelters for everyone, regardless of who they are.
Mhm.
Like, it's not like I, for whatever reason, want to forbid that from existing because that makes no sense. But the rhetoric around it continually, and this is just one example of it, just paints trans women as inherently predatory. Because how often do you hear the same complaints about trans men being put in with men?
No, you see,
Why
no,
is
there
it
isn't.
only
I've actually got something to say about that.
Go.
If
I mean, before actually, yeah. Go ahead. I actually want to hear
okay,
this.
because this is an interesting one. For some reason, trans men don't seem to get noticed or even mentioned. Like it's like they don't exist, but they do. One of my best friends, I don't speak to them anymore, but the reason I fell out has got nothing to do with the fact that they're trans. I actually think they're a nice person. It's just circumstances.
yeah, different.
Yeah, I still
Humans
think
are more complex than that.
exactly. I still think they're a lovely person, but this person, I won't mention names, when they had a psychotic break, they were put in an all men's psychiatric ward. Whilst they were there, they were raped, right? Because they still have a vagina and they're in there with other people that are mentally unstable. And they saw that person was clearly, even though they identified as a man and was put in the same place as the other men, they were assaulted. And it was terrible. And
that should never have happened, regardless of.
Oh no, it shouldn't have. I mean, any kind of rape, obviously, disgusting.
Yeah.
But the fact was, they wanted to be perceived as a man, which I'm okay with. I always called him by his name, never mentioned his dead name. Even once I remember saying, I said, "Oh, what is your dead name?" And I said, "Oh no, sorry, I shouldn't ask that." And they were like, "No, it's fine." They were actually okay. I could speak to them, and they're one of the reasons that I do think there are some really lovely trans people out there, because I've had good conversations with them. They've spoke to me. We've actually joked around about stuff, and they're lovely people. But then you got the other side of it, where they absolutely crucify and jump on you for asking genuine questions. And that just makes you go, whoa, what the fuck? I wasn't trying to be a dick. I'm just trying to understand the situation. But yeah, trans
do you
men.
understand that people have gotten a bit sensitive after? I'm not condoning their behavior, by the way. I'm not condoning jumping down people's throats. I'm not saying that's okay, but they've also just had a lot of harassment and hate themselves.
Yeah.
And that's also something that I'm figuring, because we're constantly talking about the safety of cis women in these kinds of spaces, but I feel like we don't talk enough, and that's why it's good that you brought this story up. We don't talk enough about the safety of trans individuals, because as the statistics thus far show, trans people are at a higher risk of being assaulted than cis people, and especially like physical assault, like violence against them. And I feel like in many of the debates, we are like, yeah, but what about cis women? What about cis women? What about cis women? And we should always keep in mind, like, we need to protect cis women. Yes, we also need to protect trans women. Yes. Who is most at risk? And when it comes to, like, for example, that bathroom debate, trans people face so much more assault in bathrooms that don't conform to their gender, like they're transgender, than women do from men abusing a trans women identity to get into a bathroom.
I see what you mean. Yeah.
Okay, but
so it is to mitigate harm. It would actually be better to allow trans women to use the women's bathroom, because statistics show that is a far larger problem. And beyond that, I think what we need to remember is that the perceived risk for bathrooms and that kind of stuff is not actually trans women. It is cis men abusing the transgender identity to cause harm. So they are not trans women. They are just cis men who are acting like they are trans women.
I got to ask this here. This is where I'm really gonna step in now. Because why is it that you can make that parallel? You can make this observation, and that's fine. You know, you can make this observation and say they are not cis women, or they're not trans women. They are posing to be trans women, and that is not inherently transphobic.
Because their intention?
That is transphobic, though. That is
No.
actually, yeah, but
Well, wait,
they decided
I'm
to try.
not saying that I can tell which of them are which.
But that's the
That's not what I'm
point.
saying.
But that's the point. The same argument. You're not saying. I think this goes back to the last episode. You're not saying that that you remember the Andrew Tate thing in regards to um in regards to the ownership issue. You know what I mean? In regards to the ownership issue, like where
Oh yeah,
yeah, yeah. Remember where
yeah.
we said that you're not saying that that the woman is literally his property, etc. But the fact that it died, it's got the word property in there is the problem. It's kind of the same thing here. You're not saying, oh, they're not really women, they're posing as women. But that is the issue. The other
No,
side,
because I'm not saying that about actual trans women.
yeah, but no, but
That is
that's
the
the
issue.
issue. Wait. This is the point. This is the
I
point.
think I know what he means.
This is the point. Who gets to decide who an actual trans woman or trans man actually is? Because bear in mind,
That is a legitimate question. I'm not going to deny that.
No,
but regardless of who gets to decide or how we decide, if we just look at the facts, there are people who just experience themselves as a woman, have
But you-
always done so, have
Oh,
gender dysphoria, want to transition. Those would be actual trans women.
Yeah,
If there's a man who is like, I want to rape people, and he decides to act like he's a woman and go into a female bathroom and rape someone, then that is not a trans woman.
hold on a second. You are basically validating every talking point of Matt Walsh. You are validating every talking point of Ben Shapiro. You're actually validating every one of their point, because their point
How?
is, you are saying
The
is down.
system's easy
you-
to abuse.
They are saying that they're suffering from a mental disorder, and it's called gender dysphoria. They're called transphobic for this. You're saying the exact same thing, but for some
No,
reason,
I'm not. I understand why you're confused, but
Okay.
that's not what I'm saying.
okay, rephrase
No,
that,
but
because
I understand your confusion, but
actually want to
continue.
understand where you're coming from here. I really do understand where you're coming from.
Okay.
Rephrase.
Okay. Like, regardless of the fact that we cannot look into someone's brain, right?
Yeah.
I'm not saying that we are able to distinguish or able to tell which is which or whatever. But if there is someone who decides to pretend that they are a woman while they don't feel as a woman and don't want to go through life as a woman and don't actually want to physically transition and just don't feel female, but they decide to abuse that system
You're
cause harm.
losing me again. You're losing me again.
Okay, where are you lost?
Okay, I am lost at the point of, you know what? I will caution myself here. I'll caution myself here. Maybe I'm not understanding when you actually become a trans woman, or
Okay.
maybe I'm not understanding that part. Do you become a
That's
trans
fine.
woman? Hold on. Do you become a trans woman or a trans man when you say, I identify as a man or a woman, or do you become a trans woman or a man when you have gender dysphoria, and then that can be proven?
Gender dysphoria is not necessary to be trans.